My name is Samson Misra from Yammy B TV. Growing up, mum and dad, two sisters, um, average household. Um, Mum and dad used to fight quite a bit. One day we went on holiday to Barry Island in Wales, Butlins, about 10 or 11 years old. And they were arguing there and left before we came back. We was with our godfather, me and my sisters. But on the way back, my dad had a stroke whilst driving back, and my mum went home and took an overdose. So there was no one to look after us. So we ended up in a children's home.
And how are your relationship with your sisters today?
One's okay. We parted for a little bit when mother died when I first came out 3 years ago. I haven't really spoke to my older sister for a while, but never really had much family, to be honest. You know, bits of outskirts families, but no, I've been very much alone, to be honest.
And today, would you like family? How do you see family?
Mm, since I started out on this journey, since I've come out, um, found adopted family, kind of so to speak, a lot of friends and family, a lot of, well, so-called family now, they're like surrogate sisters and mothers and aunties and brothers to me along this journey, and a lot of resonating new skills on the outside that I've never experienced before. But as well as there being a lot of bad or sad people out there, there's a lot of good people too, which I never knew before.
And I saw that there are a lot of pictures with your friends, and you seem happy today. Would you describe yourself as happy?
Mm. Um, Today, as you see me today, for the first time in 3 years, I'm happy, at ease, and at peace, because as much as I'm not a criminal no more, not one single bit of criminal activity in the 3 years and change since I've been out. But I've suffered with ups and downs, with demons coming and going and clean time, then falling off the wagon for a few weeks at a time, and to such an extent where it was life threatening. And one day I just woke up and I started to see things differently. And it's just in recent times, and the importance of the journey, my journey, um, sharing my experiences with people on my YouTube channel and other platforms, mainstream TV. A lot of work to be done. Grateful to have got some time out near the end of my life. And I tend to believe now more in embracing that and those opportunities that are going to come my way, to help as many people as I can. And addiction, you know, you do one day at a time. But the first time in life, I'm confident and actually believe what I'm saying.
Um, how, what was the substance you were addicted to, and do you remember the first time you took it?
Um, from an early age, I didn't really like cannabis. So when I went to prison, the young offenders, I smoked it a little bit, but when I came out in the 80s, I got into the cocaine thing that fitted the lifestyle of stealing and burgling, you know, sadly, thinking that it wouldn't really be harmful to be stealing off rich people, committing crime, habitual crime every single day for short periods while I was out, a few weeks at a time. Each sentence got longer and longer and went on to more serious violent crime, but first coke, crack, and then in prison smoking heroin, and finally culminating out here in the 3 years of trying all different things and even alcohol, and nothing seems to work. And the changing of characters it does for me and engendering chaotic behaviour, old feelings surfacing about previous addiction that I went through in them short periods of time when I was a coke addict, committing crime every day, but the purpose of doing wrong to people and stealing money and ruining people's lives, to only then be buying or spending all the money on drugs, to go to prison, to suffer more, to harm myself more. Never in the end can see any benefit for the behaviour that it brought. And I suppose my biggest regret would be of doing things to people and stealing their belongings and frightening people with guns and things like that, and my prison behaviour, for the sake of trying to get my own way, to get substances, getting a name in prison as a bad man, obviously. Um, but, you know, in later life, you kind of think it's just a vicious cycle. This where you're just going round and round in circles, repetitive behaviour with the same outcome all the time. They have terminology of insanity, and I tend to understand what that means now. So it's more of jumping out that cycle now and seeing the other side of the coin. You know, I've proved it in little spurts out here since I've been out, that you're happy when you're clean and but I think for the first time I'm more reserved and calm and not getting too excited and too complacent, because been through stages of being quite boastful, and you know, you think that you've won with addiction, but it's never won. You have to risk places, people, and ulterior motives. Some people don't mean it, but you know, sometimes people, like with addiction, people want you to be with them and go through it with them on their way. But I no longer, I tend to think now I have to more look after myself and tend to please myself, keep myself safe, so that I can continue on my journey of inspiring and motivating, and by practicing what I preach, and you know, living up to the billing and the talk of a complete reformed criminal. You know, demons of all kinds always going to be there, Anja, but you know what I mean, they don't have to be. You don't have to bring them to the forefront. I mean, better to have some self-control and be able to do your self-talk and understand what those old feelings mean. And all them old feelings mean to me is that for every time that I reacted on those feelings, I still ended up in a worse position, spiritually and mentally, than when I started. So that's the change.
Um, do you think you could have get some help from the government to avoid everything you went through?
I never went to rehabilitation. I ran about in those prisons for decades, not wanting to live, not caring, nobody outside, no support from no one, no love, so to speak. So, you know, it works one or two ways. You throw the towel in and you think, you know, your self-esteem's poor and you tend to not care about the consequences, you know what I mean? And you just, in the end, you're lost in the system. The only person you're harming is yourself, and asked for help a few times along the years, never got none. Done a couple of courses inside prison, drug related, not good enough. Um, Ultimately now, start going to meetings. People have been telling me since I've been out, I'm thinking I'm not on drugs. I have a drink, and then it repeats itself. And you have a drink, and then you're all right for a couple of months doing that, no drugs, and all of a sudden one day you're thinking, you let your guard down and you're back in there. So they've been telling me, no, 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 it doesn't work that way. But my head was hard. And now I understand that we have to incorporate some kind of help. And I'm seeing a counsellor now for the first time.
And how long have you been clean?
Few weeks, ultimately, we say from everything. But it's been that kind of thing since I've been out. Never really been teetotal. Could be tablets, medication, no A-class drugs, but drink instead. Going from one thing to another, trying that bit ain't working on, well, let me try that bit. Just got all confusing, culminating with me in the back of an ambulance 3 times in a month. It's a terrible existence, an existence where it always did what it always done to me, where I just end up isolating on my own, from going from high to low to high to low, needing more and more, but the body can't take it, breaks down, not eating, can't do my work on social media, can't go and meet people, hiding because I know that it's apparent by the physical look that I'm not me. So then that makes it worse. Then you've got to get clean again. I managed to get clean a few times on my own since I've been out. But this time it just feels different. So I'll take that today.
With all the success you have now, for example, on YouTube, aren't you scared that maybe the thing you're going to earn, you may use it for drugs as well?
No, I don't really. I get more money away from social media for things. But what happens is when I'm not on drugs, I tend to look after people, but more rather keep money's not the be all and end all for me. But suppose it does help. But nah, it's the thought of using money to buy it again after the last thing that's happened to me. That could be the last time I ever use or live. So there's a fear factor now for me.
And as you said before that you've been to prison as well, did it change? Did it change you, or did it help you as well?
No, it never really helped me because I stayed in there for, the best part of 30 odd years. But um, the behaviours out here, not being a criminal no more, is that when the demons have come for me, the behaviour out here mirrors my behaviour in there, which would be then the way that I've lived for so long in there that sometimes we could feel that it's okay to feel like you're not doing anything wrong because you're so used to doing it that way in there, scoring, running behind the door, skullduggery to go and get it. Except out here, you're not a criminal, but same kind of behaviour. Have little bouts of using and isolating, going back over things and feeling that you're not worthy, and self-esteem starts to fall, and I'm no good, and I don't deserve all this success and that kind of stuff. And then you work it all out. You think, no, in fact, it's a good time in life. It's not a time from the past where you're doing wrong things to get the money to go and buy it. You're actually using your own money to go and get it. And with the same outcome of self-harm and self-destructive and self-sabotage to everything the good that's going on in your life for the first time in life. Just kind of, like I said, today my eyes are open and I think to myself, it's a good time after what's happened since childhood. I think you brace it. I'm kind of happy every day. I can't be happy if I'm going to have spells of downtime for no apparent reason. Though we'll say addiction is the way it works, but I'm not a believer in that. I think in the institutional behaviours and lifestyles for a long period of time, and certain things inside of us, they disappear as age and experience comes with more time out here. But certain feelings inside of the core beliefs and that belief is still there. Sometimes you jump in and you get trapped. The key is going to be what you're going to do to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
And what should one do so it doesn't happen again?
We implement new strategies. We see a counsellor, which we're doing now, and we talk about things. We got work to do in the communities, plus other media work and platforms and different subjects. Be up for your work. Life's not easy for none of us out here. I have to, what one do I want? I'm not a criminal no more. So what do I want to do? To take drugs to destroy what I've got to offer for the life I've had and so many people that I could help, which people are saying I've helped them. I've been 60% version of myself since I've been out. So the world looks good if I'm 100% and I can give back, and self-esteem that way comes. Thank you for helping me. Samson, can you come down here and deliver that? Can you do this? Come here. We need you. They need me. Still a form of old behavior, but with no consequences of me losing my freedom or any self-harm. So we want to stay away from the things that are going to disrupt what I've set out on this journey to do, was to help a lot of people.
How is the battle going? Do you still fight against your demon and all this stuff?
For the first time, do I fight? Where am I at today with fighting with my demons and the things that have come sporadically since I've been out in the 3 years? I feel like I've got wider hands where I'm overpowering what I was succumbing to a bit easier in the up and down time since I've been out. Now, I want to stay clean to be able to fight with it. I love doing it, so that I can say, it only has to catch you once, remember? So I need to be up for that every single day that I live, to remember what it done, where it leaves me. feeling. So every time it's coming to me, it feels like I'm pushing it out the way without thinking about it. So therefore, I'm dismissing for the first time that when you come my way, I'm not even going to give you no time. I deal with it like it's a little boy. Stay away from me. You can't get me. Don't dwell in there. Don't think about it. Stomach starts rumbling. Something ain't gone your way today. You got thousands of people that love you. Why are you going to succumb to that voice saying, you don't love you though?
And how do you feel when some people say, you've helped us, you're helping me because you're sharing a story, etc.?
So spurring on. When people say to me, you help me with this bit and that bit, with all different kind of content that I put up, like prison stories, the vulnerable side, the abuse side, the sad side, you know what I mean, the strong side, you know what I mean, um, the disabled, the sufferers, know exactly what it feels like with my story. So when they say it to me, I kind of prefer to be in a position of like, I help you too. I help you too. How'd you get? I can't spend too much time on one person because there's too many to choose from. But the light that shines from me, from God and the higher spirit and the power, you know what I mean? You go in there, they see the light clearly. They see you look a mess one day. They see the color coming back, skin glowing, happy, realistic. And then they see that and they say, I want a piece of that. How has he done it? You give them the talk that you feel that they need based on the experiences that I've had. When they tell me that I can't do this feeling here, when little sentences, it could be one sentence out of one of those videos that reaches someone. Because it's not everybody, all of us haven't got the answers to stuff. You say things to me and I go, oh yeah, I didn't look at it that way before. I look at the times in life when I was paralyzed. I look at the times of adversity in the Cat A's and from the war zone. I look at all the times I came sailing through like Charlton Heston on a horse, victorious. And I think to myself, but you've done that bit. Many of us have got things we look back on. How did I achieve that victory that day? What did I do right that day that's I could do for this scenario and that scenario? It boils down to the same thing. Self-control, the inner strength, believing in yourself that you can overcome. Not just when you have to overcome. We come with addiction. You've conquered everything else, Samson. But you've been weak to go and let into the temple of doom and let it control you again when really you've proved in a lifetime of 40 years of institutions and sad start, but then the rest was your fault because you got what you was looking for and you have to pay for harming people and victims, etc. But you came through all of that. You must be able to come through that. Easier said than done. Been there for so many times, you knock on the door, you fall down, but each time while I was out, I got weaker and weaker and weaker. It's hard, the comebacks. Because so used to setting the holes for myself inside institutions. It's a game I used to play. Look good, train, clean, full of life, full of beans, but ultimately a sad figure, traumatized. But now I say to myself, why? You came through all of that. You can't succumb to something that's going to hinder your progress for others and the help that you can give because there's a story there. And many people have bits of my story, which is why we've got the following and things like that, because they resonate with different parts, and you want to give back so that somebody gets something out of something, and you can only do that if you're in a position of full strength. And it's a better mantle to hold than show brilliance of acting, narrating, voiceovers, talking, the gift of the gab, energy high, lifting up people. You still need to have those last bits to push on for which would be for me, and we haven't got enough clean time yet for me to do all that. But I'm not looking at it. I'm not counting nothing. I just begin to dismiss, and when those feelings come, you take your days up with positive stuff that you ain't got time to do. There's only so many hours in a day. You know, but by picking up, it changes the dynamics of everything. You won't feel the same. It's not going to do something different to you than it always did, whether it's the white, the dark, this bit and that bit. You're all still going to, you remember how you feel when you do those things. You know, alcohol's going to make you blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I've conquered the alcohol yet, but I spotted it the other day that for the first time, I'm going to have to seriously think about letting that go too. And it kind of hurts me. But I have to analyze my behavior, Angela. And it's no good me kidding myself. One becomes silly when their inhibitions being lowered.
Was it like provoked by something?
Provoked by substance misuse,
Which one?
prison drug, tripping, committed suicide, dived off the top bunk bed, head first, middle of the night, paralyzed straight away, no hands, no legs, never to walk or use my hands again. And say I was sitting there with a prison officer sitting behind me. I had a girlfriend at that time, she was crying. They said, look, it's not going to happen. You've got the same injuries as Christopher Reeves, Superman. Cervical 345, fracture of the spine. But I said, nah. I had the neck brace on, I was in intensive care. I looked around, said, nah. I just spoke to God. He said, nah. He said, you're going to get, it's up to you whether you get back up or not. And I got back up. And that's the ultimate thing when I look back, I don't even like to think about that. That's been stored away. I don't know how I did it so easy. I didn't have no doubts that I wouldn't get back up. Again, I draw reference to that today and you incorporate that into my recovery as to how I dealt with such a position of near death.
And was it the first time you were near death?
I was near death the other day in an ambulance through the addiction, 3-4 weeks of non-stop. 3 times I had to call. I was worried that I was going to get found all alone, dead. I was frightened of my own shadow, like the nervous system with my spinal injury was breaking down. And I was succumbing to it, and they saved me a couple of times. Deciding factor now.
And would you say that today you're still alone, or do you have the support you want?
I've had support all the time. I never knew the importance of reaching out when there's troubled times, because I want to be strong to look after everyone else. When I'm weak, I feel like I don't want to call no one, which was the wrong way to handle addiction. So if I'd have known, well, I didn't listen. So to be able to pick up the phone and there's people there that will talk me out of it into me. But then when you're going through it, you're thinking, I don't want you to talk me out of it. But the key is to be phoning those people and getting involved in talk with them before you pick up, not after you've picked up.
Why do you think it happened to you and not your sister?
Because I was institutionalized. I didn't know what else to do in there. So you look for comfort in dealing with your time in there. At first you didn't. Studied, done positive stuff in there in the early days, and then one too many times it happens, going back and forth, that, like I said already, threw the towel in and thought, well, look at inside like I'm out. I've never been out anyway. Run around and look for it. Grafting, action, drama, being a pest, upsetting. The authorities fighting back. You know what I mean? Me. I'll get what I want then. I'll misbehave. I'll do it my way.
And what did you feel, for example, as you said before again, when you had a gun, for example, and trying to steal from people? Do, do you realize at that moment that it's it may hurt the other person, or were you only living what you feel?
No, there was a few times when I pulled out the gun, and the initial stages of the robbery, pull it out and go like that, and someone looks scared, so I'm aware it's frightened and put the gun down, try to smooth my way and finesse my way through the robbery. There's no bullets. Don't seen a lady break down and cry, and a man frightened to death, falling on the floor, looking at me, fainting, in times when I run out. So the significance of what's going on during the moment only becomes apparent when I'm faced with a victim breaking down. It's like fighting in prison when someone doesn't want to fight. You're fighting, and then because they don't want to fight back, you don't want to fight no more because you know that they're weaker and they're vulnerable. I'm only chancing my arm to get the money at the time, to fulfill my desire, the motivation at all costs to live or die, to get the substances with doing as little harm as possible to the victims throughout my life, apart from the fights in prison. Never actually put my hand on anyone during any crimes, apart from the stabbing of my abuser when I was 12 years old.
And what happened with that abuser, if you want to tell also?
Well, I don't know. He died later on. It doesn't matter. Now they conned me, left me in care for a year or so in Stamford House, waiting the outcome of whether the charge is going to be more serious. But I'd already reported the abuse a month before the stabbing. They didn't listen. And then I carried on being victimized. And then one day I had enough.
And I don't know if I can ask the question or not, but in what way did he abuse you?
Sexual, physical, mental.
And what would you like to say to people who are currently living that right now? Because I guess at that age it's quite hard to tell people. And
Mm.
do you have any advice?
I do. There's many out there, more than what I ever thought. You always believe that you might be the only one, and you find outside women, men doing it to kids, boys, girls, and women also, well aware, also doing it to people. So something new there, but loads of my followers suffered the same fate, hands of family members, people in authority, supposed to be looking after them, teachers, next door neighbours, friends of the family, different forms, subtly grooming, destroying before adolescence, vulnerable stages of a child's growing before maturity, that you could set the stall out to be ruining a natural progression of maturity, puberty, and those kind of things. You would upset their development because what you're inflicting is emotional shock. Pre this, pre that, but again, it's all different ages. It happens at abuse is abuse, but to a child, then you start thinking there's something wrong with you. You don't know who to tell. You know that they swept it under the carpet way back in the day, like they did for a lot of abuse victims. But I was always of the belief that once it's happened to you, the scars are there, manifest, comes out in different ways, addiction, the way that you treat others. And then you got the do-goodies out there saying, yeah, but some of these abuses, it happened to them, yeah, well and good. But the only thing is, they always forget to mention that if you didn't like it happening to you, how can you not know that by you doing it to someone, they'd feel exactly the same way as you? My take on it.
So how do you feel today?
I feel at peace. I feel you can't beat me.
Mm-hmm.
One day I would wake up and smell the coffee. I'll be triumphant out here. was all about behaviors. The length of time I've been out now, things become more apparent. They used to say to me back in the day, you've got to stay out long enough so your eyes open to understand people and life experiences. When you've been away from a child, you don't develop, you develop in institutions. So the things that I'm bumping into and making mistakes out here as a non-criminal, I should have experienced those things from a kid, teens, 20s, 30s, so I wouldn't have to go through them as a 50-year-old. I would be knowing already the effects and what happens, like I've worked out with crime. You know that you can't do that no more because of the effects and what it does to the other person, plus yourself, and ruining your life and other people's, and not participating in the real world. So these childhood errors of people, places, risk, and believing what she says and he says, and come with me like a lamb to the slaughter, a little boy all over again, bumping into doors, thinking it's all right to go there, clean, and then using. But they had the plan all the time. Setting your ways for certain times since I've been out. But you're going to have to catch me good now. I look at it more like a game of, that got me before. It's not getting me like that again. I've learned from that bit. More of a case, it happened 10, 15, 20 times. I should have got it, but I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Was doing that quite a lot. It's now that I come to terms with the fact that live or die, what do you want? What's important? What's irrelevant? What's irrelevant? Relevant? What do you want for yourself? Ain't it better to just wake up clean and be happy and just think, you know what? It's better than it was. It's a vicious cycle, very, very hurtful experience, those last bits for me. No, not for me.
When we first get in touch, I think you told me you were as well homeless at some point. So how did that happen? And
I came out the day of lockdown, the COVID thing, the day of the first lockdown, March 2020. My girlfriend at the time, this is my first ever relationship, which I failed badly. My experience of relationships, suffered. Mum died during that time. On social media, being pulled this way and that way, being conned, being fooled, drug dependency on and off. After a year or so, this is the license finished to the final sentence. Probation wanted a hold over me still. The girlfriend threw me out, nowhere to go. Packed my bags, stopped off here, stopped off there, and come here, you live here. On social media, come to me, Samson. Yammy, I'll look after you. Learn about females. What's happening, but some of them saved me during the time I was out, going around the country. Come stay with me, learning, experiencing, still addiction. 18 months, homeless, running around, nowhere. Out of the blue, a place comes, a couple of places come. When I look back, the journey out here, the hurdles are quite, you have to wonder. Sometimes I don't give myself credit for what I've had to face being a non-criminal out here. And then you get the rubber to green in the big moments when it looks like you're running out of options. God steps in. I said, no, 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 no. And it shelters me. Cotton wool again. More angels come. Carry me off. Without them, I'm nothing. Get in a position of stability, still don't understand that. You live alone for a little while. Still addiction coming in and out. Shaky moments, like I've explained. People that were there at the start, no longer there. Some people were true, some people won't. Don't judge anybody. But ultimately, love, relationships, I have to tell myself that I love everybody, but some of the way it's gone, I'm afraid, not in the way that they wanted me to. And then just recently, it nearly happened to me. I thought, I love one person for a minute. Then I had to lapse again. And then I remembered when I was a little boy, I'd never experienced one-on-one and being with someone and sharing those intimate one-on-one moments of doing things with one person and actually wanting to be with the person that you're with. Then that occurred to me, but it didn't for 3 years. So I thought, yeah, but then it might not be reciprocated. But for a minute, they used to say, you'll fall in love one day, that'll happen to you, and you'll find a nice woman. And then it happened for that minute, split seconds. I was been going over it lately, and then I realised not just her, won't be pushing that, but it's out there to experience things that you've missed out in your whole life on that are much more family, intimacy, laughter, one person, holidays, doing things together, understanding it all. People say, don't get involved, it's only going to end in people's experiences. They make me laugh once. Don't do it, it's going to tear you apart. There's too much to think about. But hey, you went through it. You don't need to go through it. Yeah, but I haven't done it. Let me experience it and do, you know what I mean? That might add to the stability and the focus of having somebody there. Been alone ever since I was born. It's weird. When I was a little boy, I was a sweet boy, turned into an animal and a beast through the incarcerations of being taught by my forefathers and peers and looking up to big villains and living in the jungle, weapons running up and down every day, caged in, no female contact. Don't know what it really feels like to be around them. You say all the wrong things because you're not skilled at saying things. Real childish errors. I said to myself, you know what? Go back to when you was a nice boy before they took the piss out of you. Just be yourself. You can only do that if you're clean, Samson. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the world to give the best version of yourself. Happy-go-lucky, spiritually intact, words of wisdom, insight to a world of self-destructiveness and coming out the other end and then finding that after all. So I was tearful recently because I couldn't believe it's taken me so long. That I did all them 40 years for nothing. No winners, no losers, apart from the victims, the losers. And harming and ruining my life when people are saying to me now, you could have done this, you could be that, you've got the skill to do. You had all these things that they're saying you got, but they told you, but you didn't believe in yourself. I do now. And that should go down to a lot of my followers as well. Kept telling me, you're not, you can do it, you did that, you've done it. Because we think we're our own worst enemies. I'm not playing that card again. Heart's got softer. Go to bed and lie down. So tomorrow will be all right.
I'm wondering, how do you get, is it easy to get a gun? Like, how do you manage to get those kind of things?
Girls.
Guns.
Guns.
Sorry for my accent.
Guns. Yeah. Yeah. Guns would have been easy. There's a market for everything. It's not what you know, it's who you know. No bullets, gun, replica. I even had a banana once, like a plastic bag and a cucumber, pretending it was a gun. But guns, no, dangerous, frightening. The victim never recovers. You know what I mean? It's like breaking into someone's home. You think, oh, you're doing it. No one's there. You're not causing much harm physically, but then they've got to live with who's done this to me. Do they know me? Messing about with them mentally, invading their private space, yet you point a gun in someone's face, see the breakdown in front of them, your very eyes, you think, you caused all that.
And
That makes you use as well when you're guilty, because you know you've done wrong. All for money. Money, drugs, someone's life ruined. Nothing in it for me, really.
um, did you plan those kind of things at that time, or you just did it when you need to do it?
No, habitual criminal. The cycle of the addiction and crime go hand in hand. I haven't got it today. Burgle, rob, Desperate. Can't get it? Well, I'm not going without. I'm going to get it at all cost. Gun. Late at night. Just run in there, stick it up, grab the money, jump in there. Big fountain of white stuff. I won the existence of the clouds where you believe in. Look at that victory. But hold on, get 10, 15 years for that. Yeah, but don't matter. All that matters is now. I got it, but when you're in there, good, all that for just that.
Did you stop those things one by one, or just you decided on one day that everything would stop, like stealing from people and drugs as well, or?
No, I came out when I was paralyzed. Promised God I wouldn't commit a crime again. I didn't. I promised him that I wouldn't take drugs again, but I did. So you don't have to be a criminal to take drugs. Many people work and take drugs and drugs. Doesn't mean it's one or the other. But the drugs thing's coming after the 3 years of demons. And I'm hurt, but happy, because I know how close I've been pushing it. A time in my life when everything's going well. But can't be pessimistic. Look back, just what you're going to do today about it.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years, for example?
Can't look that far ahead. I'm just doing today. Opportunities are coming my way, work-wise. Can't never recover from 40 years of institutions. Too much to learn, too little time. All you can do is stay straight, legally. Do nothing to harm, don't hurt anybody. Stay straight, see what comes. But goals, short term. Stay clean. Not criminal no more anyway. Doesn't even enter my mind. Work. Writing my material. Days are taken up. Tomorrow's promised to no one. Appreciate. You got a chance. A chance to be what you always wanted to be, Sam. A big crowd pleaser in the thick of it. Helping people though this time with no bad consequences. I mean, entertaining. Realistic. Deep talk. Mad talk. The real talk. Come to me.
Um, do you still in contact with some of the people that
No.
let you down? Yeah,
No.
that's a firm no.
No, no, no.
That's good.
I don't want to know. Don't even go to see him. Even during my downtime, demons, I never saw anybody. Only the dealer. So I wouldn't sit around, no. No.
Any advice for anyone who's living um, what you went through, like addiction?
Never give in. It looks bad, it feels bad. Ultimately, you still stand a chance today to stop, to make your life better. You've been there before. A lot of addicts have had clean time. The pink cloud, the initial stages of coming out of addiction a few times and then falling back down. Only this time, time goes on, you keep knocking on the door. One day it will stay open and you'll be at peace. There won't be no pink cloud no more, because you understand the pink cloud means that you're elated and delighted and deliriously excited. But really, keep your feet on the ground. You felt the feeling before, you know, that you can become complacent and make the same mistakes again. But ultimately, you deserve the best that you can with the cards that you've got without making it worse for yourself. Because you and I know that those drugs are false highs. That in the end, sad end, a good end to your life. The only good end is if you get a chance to live who you truly are and be free of things controlling you. All of us have the power. Many success stories along the way. Many people today, cleaner than me, 10, 15 years, 20, had worse lives than me. It's out there everywhere. Keep knocking on the door. Follow me. I'm going to show you.
Um, would you like to say something to your followers?
They know how I feel about them. They know that they've helped me. And without them or each other, we're nothing. They know that people say, yeah, but you fully don't know. Don't see things like that. Not no celebrity. I'm an ex-criminal. It's passing on my experiences. People lover, socially adept, good energy. We got there. Many still follow me that suffer. But I give them hope. They love it when I'm happy because they know what it means. When I'm happy, it means I'm clean. And they think when they watch you for so long, it doesn't become apparent to me, but to them, he's all right today. And then they know when I'm not. When they've been with you a long time, people know you inside out. I always believe that can't go up there on some facade and charade and I'm all right. No, I've got no problems. I've won. I'm an inspiration. No, 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 no. You've done too long to be having the game won. No one can ever have the game won. No one. Who wants to be perfect? No good. The big I am, this and that. A bad life. We're all suffered, involved. Not me. People person. People's champion. I'll continue with that. We'll have liftoff. And we'll keep going. That's all. I do the best with the cards I got. If that can lift people and help people, then I'm winning anyway. There's the fix right there.
Do people judge you sometimes, and how do you feel about that?
You're going to get names called on social media. They're not saying who they are. They call you all kind of names, but is it true what they say? You know what I mean? They're going to bring you down. You've harmed a lot of people in the past in prison. And they don't want to see you do well. For all you know, there could be people close to you coming up and with fake accounts, saying horrible things. Bring him down. Don't want him to succeed. It's not very important. It's your stuff. You want to come and write stuff up there and try and bring people down and you think that's going to work on after everything I've been through. It hardly matters. I used to get upset with it and argue back and threaten people on when I'm you chatting to. No, no. Oh, forget it, man. Still say little bits now for a laugh. Doesn't mean anything to me, Angel. Thick skin, there's sadder things happening to the world when you're up there in the spotlight. It's going to come. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. All it does to me is show people about their self and their stuff. Everything I've been through, I accept my part in everything. And I go marching on. And the best way of moving on is accepting your part in things. And don't let nothing get in the way of what you're giving back. It's their stuff. If you want to focus on someone calling you names online and threatening and saying the things you don't, they listen to you, but they all watch you. And then what are you watching for? People don't like a winner, do they? Maybe their sad existence, they'll come out of one day and they'll realize that the better I get, it probably hurts them more. Again, that's their stuff. But there's much more. I've got 90% more positive than negative. Can't focus on things like that. Many people don't think about give ex-criminals, people that have done bad stuff like me. They think, why should they be able to have a chance? Hey, who are anyone to judge? I'm not judging nobody. I can't. I'm not in a position to. All I can do is be myself. You're more people's cup of tea than theirs. It's not worth thinking about, Angela. Otherwise you get pulled down and you let them pull you down. And I played that trick a few times. I'm down. They'll start running in 5, 6, 7 years. I'm not really. Then he rise again. They start shrinking into the background. It's like beating the devil, the same thing as addiction. You start gaining control. Then it pushes him down further into the ground where he comes from. You're the controller. You're the greatest. I'm worth it. People to help, more important. A lot of people got issues. Can't control it, Angela. You know what I mean?
What is the thing that you are least proud of and the most proud of?
The least proud of is not understanding people's feelings at first to my actions until I'm told. Once I'm told, I'm doing something wrong, and don't say that I understand immediately, but my life experiences have led me to not understand certain things emotionally. But if you tell me it hurts you, or tell me you don't want it, tell me that, then I listen. Then I won't do it again. But I'm least proud of committing crime, affecting loads of people's lives from growing up because of my upbringing and growing up, and the sense of belonging and being taught by the wrong teachers, and believing everything that I was doing bad was the right way to behave, and finding it attractive and celebrating stealing and frightening, that kind of stuff. But I'm proud that I got a chance near the end to have a laugh and be same personality but without committing crime and doing harm to people. I would have accepted that. So today, that's why I believe that the addiction side of things, I think I'm getting, because you have to be loving yourself and it's being safe in your own skin. It's as simple as that. Once you reach that stage, then you know that the battle is winning. As we get older, the hurt and hurt and hurt. Some people don't get the chance. I'll take today.
Um, is there any subject that you'd like to open up with that
No,
would help you today?
no, Angel. It's been a pleasure, Angel.
Yes.
Going.
Do you have any questions, Zach? Maybe, you know.
No, it's just been a pleasure listening to you. It's really, it hits me.
Thank you, sir. Don't worry. I done live the other day. I was tearful. It gets emotional, doesn't it, later life? This is the kind of talking and motivational stuff that's going to come through. It's hard, but in the end, I'm in a better position now than I ever was. And there's many watching me, and that's why the real people seem to know, because they identify little bits, and you think to themselves, watch Yammy, because they believe in you, and they don't judge you. As I said to you, when I've fallen down, it's Yammy, Yammy, Yammy. The people, the fake ones, disappear. Oh, he's no use to us now. He's in the spotlight, but you can't expect to come back. You won't be in the front of the queue. When the good times come, those that stayed with me get everything forever off me. That's all I ever wanted out of this, is the love.